For more on the 2024 presidential race, Jason Chaffetz joins me now. He's a former Utah Republican congressman and a current Fox News contributor. Jason, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with polling from the Fox poll on the state of the GOP race, and I'll get you to react to it. Former President Trump is up to 60%, DeSantis down to 13%, Ramaswamy steady at 11%, Haley up to 5%, Pence down to 3%. Jason, what is your assessment of this race?
Look, Donald Trump is in the lead. He's lapping people at this point. I think there's a lot of support for him, and the challenge to the other candidates is how do they make a fundamental difference? And you know, the debates are important. We got one coming up, and that's going to be a pivotal one. But boy, they got to make a move at some point if they're actually going to win the nomination.
Here is Governor DeSantis on this race. Let's play it.
If the election's all about documents at Mar-a-Lago, January 6th, all that stuff, that's going to let Biden hang out in his basement. And I think he's going to get away with it again. He's not going to face scrutiny. It's not going to be about his record.
Does he make a point there about the race needing to be about what a Republican president would do for the American people going forward?
That'll always be the challenge. Governor DeSantis is 100% right. How do you get and focus on the energy policy in this country, immigration, the economy, things that actually will affect people's real lives to the extent that Republicans get focused on that, not get distracted by some shiny object off on the side? That's always a challenge in the campaign. The campaigns are always about distractions, but those that can get the focus back and pivot and have that discussion, as Governor DeSantis laid out, that's exactly right. They can't just allow Biden and Harris to just hang out in the back room and not have to answer tough questions.
All right, from the Fox poll on President Biden's soundness to serve, just 36% say yes, 61% say no. What do you believe is the level of freak out at the DNC and with other Democrats?
That number's got to be 100% on the freak out because I think everybody can see the cognitive decline. It's not so much his age as his ability to vigorously do this job, answer questions, be gaffe-free, inspire people, be a good communicator, all skill sets that a president and commander-in-chief need. Neither he nor the vice president possess those skill sets. And so if you're the Democrats, every day you're burning daylight without coming up with a new nominee. I think you're hampering your ability to win the White House. I don't think Joe Biden will be ultimately the nominee, but I think there's Democrats are out there afraid to make the first move. But people like James Carville and others, they're sounding the alarm. And I sit back and watch it and think, how long are they going to wait? Because it's clear Joe Biden does not have another 5 years in the toughest job on the face of the planet.
From the Washington Post, Democrats are crazy to insist that only Biden can beat Trump. If Biden were to choose retirement, the list of contenders would fill overnight, and a new generation of leaders would emerge in a nation that is hungry for them. The election is more than a year off. There is plenty of time. The Washington Post, not a conservative outlet. Jason, your thoughts?
I don't think Joe Biden is a serious candidate now. He has less than 10 staffers, according to the last quarterly report. You're running for president of the United States. You have less than 10 people working on your staff. Now, the DNC is doing things that the RNC isn't doing. But yeah, I totally agree with their assessment on the political side of it. Think about it. Joe Biden, Bidenomics, it's working. They're doing everything they said they were going to do, right? And they are at least tied with Donald Trump, who they think is the worst person on the face of the planet. So it's not going to get any better for them.
Jason Chaffetz, thanks so much for your time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.